वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददान्ति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथं वितान्तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा श्रीराधा कृष्णपाद हे पाद विदा श्री विशाखान्वितां च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्ते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। So welcome everyone for the Saturday morning Bhagavatam session. So I think it has been almost 2 weeks since we had any session on Bhagavatam. So I think last session we discussed about chapter 17. So which is how Parikshit Maharaj he receives the personification of Kali, right? So how Parikshit received the age of Kali. So we have seen how King Parikshit, he observes that bull and cow, they're being beaten by a person who is dressed like a king. And then he asks the bull, who is personification of dharma, and cow, who is personification of Mother Earth. And then no, he tries to drive away Kali, right? He's about to kill Kali. But what happens? Kali, he surrenders to Parikshit Maharaj, and Parikshit Maharaj says, okay, I'll give you some place to stay, right? And then he gives 4 places for him to stay. So wherever there is intoxication, meat eating, illicit relationship, and gambling. So wherever these 4 things exist, Parikshit Maharaj says that you can reside in that place. But during that time, and during the rule of King Parikshit at that time, there were no such places where these 4 things were prominent. So then Parikshit Maharaj says, okay, wherever there is a lot of wealth which is acquired, so in that place you can stay, right? So these are the 5 places which Parikshit Maharaj gives to Kali to stay. So now in this chapter, we'll see how King Parikshit, no, he's cursed by Brahmana boy, right? So we all know that during the birth of King Parikshit, so the sages, right? So they make a prediction that no, that Maharaj Parikshit will become a great devotee, great king, no, like the Pandavas. But at the same time, they also make a prediction that he will quit his body by a snake bite, due to snake bite, and he would be cursed by a Brahmin boy who would curse him that no, he will die within 7 days by a snake bite, right? So majorly this chapter focuses on that part, but we also have a lot of conversation between Suta Goswami and Naimisharanya sages, right? So that conversation is very, very beautiful. No, they actually, now this Canto 1 is going to end, and we know that in Naimisharanya, when the sages, no, headed by Shaunika Rishi, when they're performing a lot of fire sacrifice, no, they're able to see that the age of Kali is going to come. So for the benefit of normal people, they do a lot of yajna. But during that time, they see Suta Goswami and they receive him, and then they're having all this conversation, right? So they start with 6 questions, what they have, and now we have come till here, till 18th chapter, right? So here they express their views that no, this Krishna Katha which you are telling is so mesmerizing for us. No, you please keep on telling us. So that conversation also comes. So basically, this chapter is divided into 4 parts. So from 1 to 8 shloka, we'll see how Sutta Goswami, he talks about birth of Parikshit Maharaj and death of Parikshit Maharaj, and how he is dealing with age of Kali. So those things are explained from 1 to 8 shloka. But from 9 to 23, no, major portion of the shlokas, it's a conversation between Sutta Goswami and sages. No, they are talking, no, how nectarian is this Krishna Katha? What are the advantages of hearing to Krishna Katha? Right, and how they themselves are feeling that no, whatever lab they were getting by doing fire sacrifice, they were not able to get as much as they are getting lab from hearing the Krishna Katha, right? So how glorious is this Krishna Katha? Then after that we'll see how King Parikshit Maharaj, no, he gets into a situation where he offends Shamika Rishi, and then eventually his son Shringi. Uh, no, sorry, he's Shringi is the sage whom Parikshit Maharaj offends, and then his son Shamika Rishi, he's a boy, no, he's a very young boy, son of Shringi. So he curses Parikshit Maharaj, right? So we'll see that episode, and at the end, in the last few verses, so we'll see how. Shringi, no, he criticizes his own son that no, for a simple thing, no, you have taken the advantage of your Brahminical powers and then you're showing it on a certain person, and that too on a king, right? So we'll look into those verses also. So we'll start with our first part, which is 1 to 8, right? So in the first shloka here, now after Suta Goswami has explained to Shaunika Rishi how King Parikshit Maharaj has received Kali and he has given him some places to stay. So now he is explaining how uh, Parikshit Maharaj, no, now he's talking about Parikshit Maharaj birth and death immediately, right? In the first verse of this chapter, he speaks about the birth of King Parikshit Maharaj. So he's telling, due to the mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, who acts wonderfully, Maharaj Parikshit, though struck by the weapon of the son of Drona in his mother's womb, could not be burnt, right? So the very important point what Suta Goswami is trying to make here is that because the will of the Lord, right? Though King Parikshit Maharaj, no, he was being subjected to this Brahmastra, no, released by Ashwatthama, and Brahmastra is such a big weapon that no, two Brahmastras, no, when they collide, they can destroy the whole earthly planet. So such were the power of Brahmastra. But when that Brahmastra was released to kill Parikshit Maharaj, by the sweet will of the Lord Krishna. So here Suta Goswami is explaining that he was protected by the Supreme Lord. And in the very next verse, what he talks about the death of Parikshit Maharaj, right? So Suta Goswami says, furthermore, Parikshit Maharaj was always consciously surrendered to the Supreme God, and therefore he was neither afraid nor overwhelmed by the fear due to a snake bite which was to bite him because of fury of a Brahmana boy. So now Suta Goswami is explaining, because King Parikshit Maharaj, he knew that no, he would be bitten by snake within 7 days, right? But because he was completely surrendered to Lord Krishna, so he was not afraid of this situation, right? So in purport, Prabhupada, he explains that how as self-surrendered devotee is called Narayana Parayana, right? Someone who is surrendered to Narayan, so he doesn't have any reason to fear, right? Because a person who is completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, he knows like, okay, both hell and heaven, their creation of the Lord, and both life and death, there are also conditions which are created by the Supreme Lord. So any circumstances which is there in this material world or in the spiritual world or in the whole creation, a devotee very well understands that it exists because of the will of the Supreme Lord. So anything happens, it is because of the will of the Supreme Lord. So when he was protected, he was very much gratitude towards the Supreme Lord. And when he was cursed by the Brahmana boy that he would die within 7 days, he was still thankful. He accepted the situation which Lord Krishna has put him in, and then he would face the situation. How he will face, we will see. Right? So here Prabhupada is explaining, because he is surrendered completely to the Supreme Lord Narayan, so that's why he was able to take up this situation without any fear. Right? So that is the second verse. And third verse it says, furthermore, after leaving all his associates, the king surrendered himself as a disciple to the son of Vyasadeva. Who is he? He is Sukadeva Goswami. And thus he was able to understand the actual position of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And at last he gave up his material body on the banks of Ganges. So, right. So, in these three verses, if you see, so Sutta Goswami, he explains in very, very brief. So, he's talking about his birth, he's talking about his death. Now, in this third verse, he is telling that because he was completely surrendered to Sukadeva Goswami, and from him, he actually understands completely who is Supreme Personality of Godhead, what are his qualities, what are his activities, and then he gives up his material body, right? So in Bhagavad Gita also, we can see that in fourth chapter, Krishna tells to Arjuna that Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvaha takta deham punarjanma naiti mam eti so Arjuna, right? So Krishna is telling that whoever understands about his divyam, no, the reasons why he is existing, no, what is his nature, what is his qualities, what is his leela, why he is coming in different yugas and different avatars, no? All these things, if someone is able to understand perfectly, then Krishna is telling for such a person there is no punarjanma, right? So here also we can see that Parishit Maharaj, no, after listening to the whole Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami, he was able to understand the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then he gave up his body on the banks of Ganges. This was so because those who have dedicated their lives to the transcendental topics of Supreme Personality of Godhead, of whom the Vedic hymns sing, and who are constantly engaged in remembrance the lotus feet of the Lord, do not run the risk of having misconceptions even at the moment of their lives. Right? So here Sutta Goswami is explaining someone who is completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, so they don't have any doubt even when they're living, right? So here Krishna says that no, someone who understands my Janma Karma, that he will be able to quit his body and come to me finally, right? So here Sutta Goswami is telling, even between that birth and death, right? So when he is living also, he doesn't have any misconception. No, whatever is happening, he is able to accept. No, he knows that whatever is happening is for my own good, right? So um, we see that no, that whenever there is a practicing devotee, right? So he takes initiation from the spiritual master. Then what happens? All his karmic reaction, whichever is there, the spiritual master takes away, right? The Supreme Lord, he takes away all the karmic reaction once a person becomes a devotee of the Supreme Lord. But what happens until the devotee becomes completely purified, right? Because even though a person has become a devotee of the Supreme Lord, he will have some anarthas, right? He will have some qualities which he is not able to give up naturally, right? So we all know, since so many years we have been chanting, doing bhakti, but still we have so many anarthas in ourselves, right? So what happens? Because we have to get rid, no, because we have to get purified of these anarthas. So Supreme Lord, what he does, he takes little karma, whatever he has taken from us, and he gives little reactions. He gives in such a way that we come out of the anarthas, right? So, for a devotee, whatever happens in his life or her life, we should understand that it is only for our good, right? So, any problem we are facing, we have to understand that no, Krishna wants us to learn something from that problem, right? Because Krishna would not give us simply for us to suffer, right? It is not like other people, like, okay, they have done some karma, so they have to suffer because they have done that bad karma previously. It is for the other people. But for devotees, Krishna himself take care. So he gives in such a way that devotee can progress in bhakti, or he can progress more in surrendering to the Supreme Lord. Right? So we should all consciously understand that no, though we are practicing bhakti, we have some anarthas within ourselves. And whenever some problem comes in our life, we should accept that, okay, this is the situation where I have to get rid of some of the anarthas, and then go through that situation, understand, and then eventually we will know that no, we will become humble after when we face that situations, right? So here also, Suta Goswami is telling that because King Parikshit was completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, he didn't had any misconception, right? So at that time when he was cursed by the Brahmana, he was very young. No, he was probably 23, 24 years, right? So you just imagine 23, 24 years of age, being a king of the complete earthly planet and having beautiful wife, kids. No, it is not so easy to give away all these things, right? But immediately when the Brahmana he cursed, Parikshit Maharaj, he immediately quit everything. He surrendered himself, right? How he was able to do that? Because he was surrendered to the Supreme Lord always, right? It was not that at the last moment he realized, okay, now I'm going to die, so let me surrender. No, because he was practicing all his life bhakti. No, he was practicing all his life how to surrender to the Supreme Lord, right? So similarly, right, if you look at in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna also says in in the eighth chapter, he says that no, um, whatever you remember at the time of death, you will achieve that, right? So Krishna tells to Arjuna. So before that he says that whoever thinks of me at the time of death, without no doubt you will come to me, right? So how one can remember Krishna at the time of death? Only when they are able to practice bhakti all their life, then only they can remember Krishna at the time of death, right? Otherwise, it is very difficult. Like we all can experience. So whenever we are going to sleep, right? So we'll get some dreams. What are those dreams about? So whatever you are thinking, doing in the day, you will think about that only in the dreams, right? So for example, tomorrow is Rath Yatra, and we have to do Pallaki decoration, right? So if we are always thinking, okay, how to decorate the Pallaki, so from back we'll do like this, garlands will hang like that. So when we are thinking like that all the day, okay, how to purchase, where to purchase, what kind of flowers to decorate with, blue color, red color, yellow color, pink color. So we are always thinking like that. Then what happens when we are sleeping also? Then we are getting about dreams about that, right? And if you are thinking about some office problems or some house problems, no, we are not happy with someone in your house and you are having some quarrel, right? So when you sleep in the night also, what happens? You'll again see that quarrel in your dreams, right? So basically, however is our mind, however we are thinking, however we are living, so same thought comes when we are unconscious also, right? So at the time of death, we don't have much control on our body, on our mind, right? So simply whatever we have lived our life, those things will flash immediately without any efforts, right? So similarly, how when you go to bed to sleep, you don't put efforts to dream about something, right? So automatically those dreams will come. So similarly, at the time of death, so automatically, however we have lived our life, all those things will come in our mind, right? So here, Suta Goswami is telling that because Parikshit Maharaj, he was surrendered, he was able to surrender himself to Krishna all his life. So it became very easy for him to quit his body, no? To accept the curse of the Brahmana, right? So now in fifth and sixth verse, uh, Suta Goswami is explaining that till Parikshit Maharaj was there as the emperor, Kali could not show his what to say prabhav, right? He cannot show his prabhav on the earthly planet. So first Kali was waiting for Lord Krishna to go away. So once Lord Krishna had departed from earthly planet, now Kali had come, but he couldn't find any suitable place to stay, no, until King Parikshit Maharaj was there, right? So Prabhupada explains, right? Uh, because Kali has to flourish, so Supreme Lord took the decision that no, Parikshit Maharaj has to come back, right? But before he could call Parikshit Maharaj back, he put him in such a situation that he left the Bhagavatam for us, right? So it is said initially also, right? So Bhagavatam, no, the Dharma has taken the shelter of Bhagavatam, right? So we have seen probably in third chapter or like that. No, Suta Goswami himself explains that though the Supreme Lord, no, under whom the Dharma has taken shelter, has moved away from the planet Earth, but the same Dharma has taken the shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Now in seventh shloka, no, Prabhupada also explains why King Parikshit Maharaj allowed Kali to stay in the kingdom, right? So he could have very well killed Kali, right? So some people may ask, okay, why should in the first place King Parikshit Maharaj leave Kali? No, he should have killed him immediately. So if he would have killed him, then Kali Yuga would have not progressed, right? So all the bad qualities which we see in Kali Yuga would have not progressed. So he should have killed. But in seventh shloka, so even Suta Goswami he explains that no, King Parikshit Maharaj is like a bee. No, what does a honey bee does? So it goes to the flower and it only takes the honey out of it, right? So even in this situation, Parikshit Maharaj could realize that though Kali has come, no, but there is an advantage for Kali Yuga to progress, right? So what is that advantage? In the last chapter of no Bhagavatam also, Suta Goswami explains that the most advantage of this Kali Yuga is that the Kali Yuga people can easily get self-realization by chanting the holy name, right? So in all other yugas, it is very, very difficult. No, they have to do so much of tapasya, so much of austerity, so much of rules and regulations, right? But in Kali Yuga, simply by chanting the holy name, one can get self-realized and he could go to Vaikunta. And the other advantage, like actually what Parikshit Maharaj, Suta Goswami tells is that Parikshit Maharaj could understand that in Kali Yuga, whatever good we think in our mind, we get benefit of further, right? But in other yugas, if you think something good, you will not get benefit. Only when you do in action, you'll get benefit out of it. But in Kali Yuga, if you just think good, no, you want to help someone, but you're not able to help them, but you think very good of them. Okay, I should have helped them like this. Or you wish that someone come and help them, but you're not able to help them. So that small thought in our mind will give us the benefit of helping that person, right? So that is the advantage of Kali Yuga. And other advantage is, even though you think bad, right, you will not face the karma. Even if you think, only when you act, you will face the bad karma, right? So it is opposite. In other yugas, even if you think bad of someone in your mind, you would get the reaction. Someone is meeting you, but you are thinking very bad about them, right? So immediately you will get reactions for that. But in Kali Yuga, no, you will not get bad reactions. So that is very, very advantageous for a person in Kali Yuga. So you think about something good, you will get good reaction. But you think something bad, you will not get bad reaction. You will get bad reaction only when you perform it in action. No, when you tell bad things to people or do something harmful to others in action, then you will get bad reaction, right? So that's what Sutta Goswami is explaining. But no, Prabhupada, no, he takes one step further in purport and he explains, because in Kali Yuga it is very, very easy for us to realize the Supreme Lord only simply by chanting the holy name, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. So there are no fast rules, right? Hard and fast rules. For other things to do, right? For to do some tapasya, yagna, even to fast also, right? When we do some we take some vrata also. There are some rules and regulations we have to follow, right? And sometimes it becomes little difficult to follow all those rules and regulations. But in Kali Yuga, now the process is very simple. To chant the holy, no rules and regulations, right? So even if you are not taken bath, you can chant. Even if you are traveling in bus, you can chant. Even you are eating, you can chant. So there is no hard and fast rules that no, you have to take bath. Only qualified people can chant. No, people who are eating meat and who are drinking, they cannot chant. There are no hard and fast rules, right? But if you look at other processes, no, they're hard and fast rules, right? So if you want to go and worship the Supreme Lord, right? So you cannot go to temple without taking bath, right? You cannot drink some liquor and go to temple and worship God, right? So for everything, there are so many rules and regulations. But to chant the holy names, there are no hard and fast rules, right? So it is said in scriptures also that there are so many demigods who are waiting to take birth in Kali Yuga on the earthly planet, right? Because though the Kali Yuga is having so many doshas, right? But still it is having one good advantage, that it is very, very easy to realize and go back to Vaikunta, right? So these things are explained till 8th shloka, right? So now in 9th shloka, we'll see how from shloka number 9 to 23, it's a conversation. Now, the Sutta Goswami has explained about Parikshit Maharaj. No, he has explained about his birth, his death, how he has received Kali, why did he give a place to stay for Kali. So all these things he has explained. So now, in to that response, now, Sutta Goswami, sorry, the Shaunika Rishis, right? So they're asking, no, what did happen more? No, you tell us more katha which are related to Lord Krishna. So we'll look into these verses. These are very, very important and very, very nice shlokas. So after from 9 to 23, after that from 24 to 50, it is almost like a story. No, what happened? No, how King Parikshit Maharaj, he became angry, how he got cursed. So it is more of like an incident what has happened. But these shlokas are very, very important. No, philosophically, we get a lot of knowledge from these shlokas. So in ninth shloka, Suta Goswami says, O sages, as you did ask me, now I have described almost everything regarding the narrations about the Supreme Lord Krishna and in connection to Parikshit Maharaj. Right? So now, because the Shaunika Rishis, they asked so many questions and they asked about Parishit Maharaj, the Kali Yuga. So in very brief, Suta Goswami is telling that I have explained to everything to you now, right? But now what is happening? Uh, those who are desirous of achieving complete perfection in life must submissively hear all the topics that are connected with the transcendental activities and the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So, Sutta Goswami is telling that no, you have put very nice questions. No, all these conversations which are all related to the Supreme Lord, no, because basically this is Hari Katha, right? So any topic which is related to Hari, the Supreme Lord, is called Hari Katha. So now Sutta Goswami is telling someone who is hearing to these Hari Katha, so they have perfected their life just by listening, right? So now the sages they're telling, no, they're praising Sutta Goswami after he says that. No, may you live many years and have eternal fame. For you are speaking very nicely about the activities of Lord Krishna. This is just like nectar for mortal beings like us, right? So now you see, now till Sutta Goswami had come in Naimisharanya for thousands of years, all these sages, no, they were performing what they're performing. They're performing fire sacrifice, and then we have seen their descriptions also, right? So when Sutta Goswami had come, no, these sages they were covered completely black with black smoke, right? And they were coughing, and it is so uneasy for them, right? But now after hearing till now, okay, till all these 17 chapters, now Shanika Rishi is telling, no, we are feeling so blissful, no, that you are telling this Krishna Katha to us. No, first they are blessing Sutta Goswami that no, may you live long and may your fame increase, right? Because we see that so many people, they don't know what to do uh, to achieve the Supreme Lord, right? Even these great sages, no, you just imagine they are just at the start of Kali Yuga. They have come from Dwapar Yuga, right? So they are more qualified than all of us in the Kali Yuga, right? So for them also to understand what to do to achieve the Supreme Lord was not proper. No, their understanding was not proper. No, they were simply trying to do fire sacrifice. But once Sutta Goswami started telling the Harikatha, all the stories or narrations which are related to Lord Krishna, so they felt very enthusiastic. So in the further verse, we will see they telling that whatever benefit we were trying to get from the fire sacrifice, no, is very very less than from hearing Krishna Katha, right? So simply if we hear Krishna Katha, we get lot of benefits. So you just imagine sages like Shaunika Rishi with thousands of devotees, so thousands of sages sitting in Naimisharanya and doing fire sacrifice for thousands and thousands of years, strictly with strict rules. No, they're not doing other things. No, they're not getting up, they're not roaming around. No, they are not lavishly staying in a place, they're not lavishly eating. So they are doing so much of tapasya. But now, even after performing so much of tapasya, once they started hearing Krishna Katha from Sutta Goswami, they felt really bliss. No, he's telling, no, Sonika Rishi is telling that this is just nectar. No, you please continue telling about these topics, right? So here we understand that in Kali Yuga, listening to Bhagavatam, no, hearing Bhagavatam is one of the most prominent, or we can say that it is the most tapasvi activity which we can do, right? So we should not think that no, when we are listening to Bhagavatam, okay, what we are doing, we are not following much strict rules, we are not doing great tapasya. But here we can understand by this episode that listening to Bhagavatam itself, itself is enough in Kali Yuga for us to reap benefits of all the tapasyas we can do by following other processes. No, it can be doing deity worship, it can be fire sacrifice, it can be strong meditation. No, all these things we can do. Great tapasya we can do, right? We can even go for long fasting, right? Right. So during Ekadashi, no, there are so many devotees. They do Nirjal Ekadashi, right? So they do lot of tapasya of even not drinking water also. But on the other side, there are devotees who take Ekadashi Prasadam, right? Who do lot of chanting, who do lot of preaching, and who do lot of listening to Shrimad Bhagavatam or they read Bhagavatam, right? So we should understand, in Kali Yuga, doing lot of tapasya is not important, right? But listening to Bhagavatam, doing lot of Harina, chanting the holy names, those are very, very important. And those will give us a lot of benefit for us actually, right? So there is no benefit in doing fire sacrifice in Kali Yuga for days or months or years together. Simply we sit at one place, we hear from a great devotee on Bhagavatam or topics of Lord Krishna, that is more than sufficient for us to reap benefit. Yeah, right. So this is what we can see. No, again, what Shanika Rishi they are saying, they're telling the value of moments association with the devotee of the Lord cannot be compared to the attainment of heavenly planets. And what to speak of worldly benedictions in the form of material prosperity, which are meant for those which are meant for the death, right? So here Shanika Rishi, they're praising the association of a devotee, right? So this is one great shloka. No, if you can make a point, you make it is from 13th shloka, right? So here Shanika Rishi is telling that a moment, no, a moment association of devotee is more than attaining heavenly planets. So we are all in this material world, we are worried. We want to gain so much of wealth, we want to get promotion, no, we want to get so much of power, we want to get so much of fame. No, but Shanika Rishis are telling that a moment association of a devotee of the Supreme Lord is more than all these things. It is more than even the heavenly planets, right? Why he's telling that? Because because of the association of devotee, we can hear about the Supreme Lord. We can come to know about the Supreme Lord, right? So you remember the shloka which Krishna tells in the 4th chapter, Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam, right? So someone who knows the Supreme Personalities, Supreme Lord's Janma, Karma, and all the Leelas and activities, they're qualified to go to Vaikunta. And how that is possible? How one can know about the birth of Supreme Lord, the activities of the Supreme Lord, right? We can know only through a devotee, right? Only through the spiritual master. Now we can know about the Supreme Lord. So that's why here Shaunika Rishi, they're praising that even a moment's association of devotee is more than achieving heavenly planets, right? Because they are able to realize that point, right? So for thousands of years, they were without association of a devotee and they were trying to do fire sacrifice. Now for a moment, no, they are able to associate with Suta Goswami and they are able to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from him. And now they are able to realize that yes, no, association of devotees is very, very important, right? So we all also practical can realize, right? So someone says, no, okay, we will shift you from India here to America. We'll give you everything. No, we will give you one room in White House. You can stay beside President of America. You will get all the facilities, but you will not have any devotee association. So how many people will be ready to go? No one, right? So after having so much of association of devotees, after understanding so much of importance about bhakti, and we understand that no, without association of devotees, we cannot do bhakti. No, we know how to do chanting, we know how to read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. But if someone says, okay, no devotee association, you have to do all these things by yourself, it is not at all possible, right? So that's why we have to take this learning that no, without devotees association, we cannot progress in our devotional life, right? So whatever may come in our life, we can sacrifice that, but we can never sacrifice the association of a devotees, right? So we should always have that satsang. No, they say, right? So we should always be in satsang. So we can get satsang only through devotees. So whenever we are in satsang with devotees, we can progress in our life. Without devotee association, we cannot progress, right? So here Shaunika Rishi also, you just imagine Shaunika Rishis, no, who have done tapasya for thousands of years also, they are able to realize this point that no, association of devotees is very, very important, right? So here in ISKCON also, Prabhupada says that no, whatever may happen, no, you may have some some rift between devotee. No, you may not like a devotee, how they talk, how they do some seva and all. But you should not leave ISKCON. No, you should not leave the association of devotees, right? Because we are all under the influence of Kali. So we all have anarthas, right? So we have some misgivings, right? So we may not act perfectly in any situation. So that doesn't mean that no, we have to take that to our heart and say, "Are no, they are devotees for so many years, but they are acting like that, they are talking like that, and we should not give up the devotees association, right?" So we all have to be in this hospital of ISKCON, no, where we are trying to cure our anarthas, right? So we all know that mentally we have so many anarthas, we have so many bad qualities, right? So many bad desires we have in our heart. So we have come to do bhakti so that we can give up all these anarthas in our heart, right? So that's why associating with the devotees is very, very important, right? Then they say the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, is an exclusive shelter for all great living beings, and his transcendental attributes cannot even be measured by such masters of mystic powers as Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Can anyone who is expert in relishing nectar ever be satiated by hearing topics about him? See, now Shavanika Rishis are telling that no, even now, great demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma also, their power cannot be equaled, no, with the transcendental attributes of the Supreme Lord. No, so what are the Krishna Katha we are hearing, right? So we cannot stop relishing, right? That's what Shanika Rishi is telling. No, you have told so much about Krishna Katha, so many topics about Krishna, but we are not able to feel satisfied. No, you tell more, right? So when they were doing this yajna, Prabhupada explains in purport actually. So for thousands of years they are doing yajna. So now Sutta Goswami is coming, right? So now they think, okay, he's a great devotee, great sage. So they give him a place to sit and they talk to him. So what they think, okay, after few conversation with Sutta Goswami, we'll go back and do the fire sacrifice again, right? But now they have given up that idea. No, no, there is no point in doing fire sacrifice. So now we have to hear more. No, we have to hear more about Krishna Katha, right? So now they have decided. No, they thought that we should go back to the fire sacrifice at one moment, but now they're thinking, no, no, no. Now there is no point in doing fire sacrifice. Let's continue hearing Krishna Katha from Sutta Goswami. So that's what he's telling. That no, we cannot even compare to the mystic powers of Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. So whatever the Krishna Katha we are relishing, no, even we cannot compare with the demigod's mystic power. O Sutta Goswami, you are learned and a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord, right? Therefore, please describe us the pastimes of the Lord, which are above all material conception, for we are anxious to receive more such message, right? See, now Sutta Goswami, sorry, Shaunika Rishis, they are telling, "Oh, Sutta Goswami, you are such a learned and a pure devotee of the Lord. Now you please continue telling more pastimes of the Supreme Lord," right? So the idea what they had that we'll go back to sacrifice, now they have dropped that idea. So now they're thinking, no, we'll sit and listen to Krishna Katha by Sutta Goswami, right? And they're praising Sutta Goswami. Oh, Sutta Goswami, please describe those topics of the Lord by which Maharaj Parikshit, whose intelligence was fixed on liberation, attained the lotus feet of the Lord, who is a shelter of Garuda, the kings of the bird. Those topics were vibrated by the son of Vyasadeva, who is Srila Sukadeva Goswami, right? So now he is telling, now you please narrate us more topics, no, which are related to Maharaj Parikshit and Lord Krishna, no, uh, which were given by Sukadeva Goswami himself. So you please narrate those topics, right? So like this, no, I have read till 16th shloka. So from 17th to almost till 23. So they praise actually Sutta Goswami that no, you are such a great devotee, you are such a learned person. But in return, Sutta Goswami shows lot of humility. So actually, Sutta Goswami is the son of Roma Harshana, right? Sage Roma Harshana. And because I'm not sure what is the mixed race, But Suta Goswami doesn't come from a race where everybody is a Brahmana. So his ancestors, probably his mother or someone, is a Kshatriya. So there's a mix. No, it is not that probably Roma Harshana and his wife were not both of them Brahmanas. So he tells that no, I am from a mixed kula. No, I am not a Brahmana by birth, but still because I'm able to relate to the topics of the Supreme Lord, so I have become purified. Or whatever praises you are giving, that is because of these topics of the Supreme Lord. It is not by my own capacity, right? So he shows that humility. So from 24 to 32, now Suta Goswami, he relates how once no Maharaj Parikshit, he went to the forest. No? So usually what happens, because king has to fight for dharma, right? So if they have to fight, they have to practice fighting, right? So whenever they are required to fight, it's not that they can simply fight, right? So they have to practice fighting, right? So we see in sports also, it is not that simply on the day of sport, like there is a cricket match or football, it is not that players will simply play on that day. They keep on practicing, right? And then finally, when the day comes for the match, they'll play to the full of their ability, right? So similarly, for Kshatriyas, it is important for them to train themselves, right? So as per the scriptures, Kshatriyas are allowed to go to forest and they're allowed to hunt. And they are allowed to hunt some wild animals. Not every animal they can hunt. So just to keep the ecology in the forest, because in the forest also there are so many wild animals which eat other animals. Now if they start eating all the animals and nobody is there to kill these wild animals, then the ecosystem will become imbalanced, right? So for that reason, to just keep this balance intact, so Kshatriyas are allowed to kill, or they are allowed to hunt some wild animals. So in that way, they are able to keep the ecosystem properly in the jungle, and in the other way, they are able to practice also, right? So to just to practice hunting, so Parikshit Maharaj, along with his soldiers, once he goes to the forest, and after, so what happens usually in forest? No, they get divided. Sometimes it is not that no, all the soldiers are there with the king, right? So sometimes while hunting, like in the sports also, if you see, not everybody is together at one point of time. So as the match progress, like football, maybe one player is with the ball and other players are scattered, right? So similarly, during hunting also, when they hunt, they get scattered. So what happened? Parikshit Maharaj got scattered from his entourage, no, all the soldiers. He went little away while hunting, and while hunting after so much of time, he felt very exhausted. No, so it is said that no, his throat was drying up, so he was at the edge of becoming unconscious, right? So you just imagine, no, you are working so hard, you are doing so much of seva in temple, but you have not drank water, you have not had any prasadam. No, you are doing seva from morning 7 o'clock till evening 4 o'clock. Then how your situation would be? No, you would feel that no, someone has to give me some water. No, otherwise, no, we'll become unconscious. All right. So even Parikshit Maharaj was at that moment where no, he was not able to physically maintain his body actually. So at that moment, he came across one hut, right? So he could see that there was one sage who was doing tapasya, right? Who was that sage? He was Shringi, right? So Shringi was a uh, sage who was doing tapasya, and Maharaj Parikshit, no, he was just waiting near his uh, hut, and he was just waiting for him to get received, right? So usually what happens, someone comes to our house, we are expected to receive our guest properly, right? So we are expected them to welcome them inside, give them a good seat, give some water, some prashadam, and talk to them nicely. No, that is an etiquette we are expected to do. But you just imagine Parikshit Maharaj is a king, right? So usually when the king comes, now just imagine if Narendra Modi comes to your house, what you will do? there would be a different treatment, right? You will garland him, you will do arti to him, right? So you'll do so many extra things because he's a king. So for a king like Parikshit Maharaj, he was not expecting all those things, but he was just expecting that no someone would welcome him and give him some water. But because Shringi, no, he was in deep meditation, so he couldn't receive Parikshit Maharaj, right? So, uh, sorry, Shamika Rishi, he was in deep meditation, so he couldn't receive Parikshit Maharaj properly. So, because Parikshit Maharaj was no on a bodily platform, he was not proper, and because of the will of the Supreme Lord also, he became very angry about that situation. No, he was thinking that no, I'm a king, I'm exhausted, I'm just looking for a cup of water. No, but this sage is not bothering, no, about inviting me and giving me a glass of water. So what happens? He waits for some time, he becomes so angry that he's about to leave. But when he's about to leave, because he was with so much of anger mood, he just sees a dead snake around. So he just picks it with his bow and he keeps around the sage, right? And then he moves away from that. But once he moves away from that, Parikshit Maharaj, he feels little bad that no, out of anger, he actually acted like that. So he felt little sorry for whatever he has done. But the moment he kept the dead snake around the rishis, Shamika Rishi's uh, body, so his son, Shringi, who was playing nearby along with all his friends, he curses the king Parikshit Maharaj. So he curses that no, you are a person no who is supposed to be like a dog near our house, no, because they're Brahmanas and Parikshit Maharaj is Kshatriya. So it is expected for a Kshatriya to take what do you say instructions from Brahmana, right? So now that he is keeping in other, no, in a very harshly words. No, he's telling that you're like a dog who has to sit outside my house, but now you're coming inside house and then you're barking. So very harshly he talks about Parikshit Maharaj. And then in a very anger mood, he just curses Parikshit Maharaj that after 7 days he'll be bitten by a snake. Right? So now this has happened. So now Shringi comes to his father's place, and then his father he realizes he comes out of meditation, and then he realizes that is a dead snake around his neck, and then his son, no, he explains that no Parikshit Maharaj had come, and then he has put the dead snake, and then have become angry and have cursed him, right? And his father was lamenting for what he has done, no. So he laments saying that no, for a small mistake of what King Parikshit Maharaj has done, you have cursed him with a death. No, it is not proper. So here in purport, Prabhupada explains that how the Kali Yuga effects starts coming with the Brahmana Bhai, right? So Brahmanas usually they have a lot of power, but they're expected to use that power for the good of others, right? But here, the Stringy, the small boy, who was inexperienced, no, he was not able to control. He didn't know what was right, what was wrong. So he was even bad at comparing Parikshit as a dog. No, he was comparing Kshatriyas as a dog. So there we can see that the discrimination between caste, that okay, I am a Brahmana, you are a Kshatriya, had come from this movement, no, from this act of Shringi, right? Otherwise, till then, though there was a caste system, no, there were Brahmanas, there were Kshatriyas, there were Vaishyas, there were Shudras, but everybody understood their role and everybody respected. No, the Brahmanas respected Kshatriyas, Kshatriyas respected Brahmanas, the Vaishyas respected Kshatriyas and Brahmanas, Shudras respected. So they understood their position and they accepted or whatever instructions they were being given, they accepted that and they followed it. But here we can see that no Shringi, he got puffed up, thinking that, oh, I am a Brahmana, you are a Kshatriya, how dare you do that to my father, right? So that was the start when this Brahminical qualities have been, what to say, uh, uh, they have become impure. No, they have become impure by the age of Kali, right? So for a small mistake which Parikshit Maharaj has done, the Shringi has taken advantage of the power he had, right? So usually whenever we have power, we have to utilize it very cautiously, right? So for example, there is a teacher in the school, or there is father and mother at home. So they have a lot of powers, but they will not show that power to their childrens, right? So only when required they'll show. If the childrens are misbehaving, they're not doing something properly, then parents will come and strictly they will scold them, or they'll punish them. So they take advantage of the power they have as a parent. But here what is happening? The Brahmana Shringi is taking advantage of the power he's having. So just for putting a dead snake around his father, he's cursing King Parishit to die. So his father is lamenting that for a small thing, you're taking advantage of your power and you have cursed him to death. Now, because you have cursed him to death, because he's such a great, powerful king, because he's the only person who is alive from the Kuru dynasty, right? From the Pandavas, he was the only person who was alive, right? So now, even if he dies, now who will rule the earthly planet, right? So now it will give lot of scope for Kali to progress in the earthly planet. So like that, his father was lamenting for his child's act for cursing him, right? So this chapter actually ends with the regret of the sage. No, the Shaumika Rishi, he's regretting for the curse what his son has committed, and that's where this chapter ends. And in the next chapter, we'll see how Parikshit Maharaj, he takes up the curse. So Parikshit Maharaj, he finally comes to know that no, he's cursed by the Brahmana boy, and he is having only 7 days to live. Now, what he will do in these 7 days, how he will face the death, is what we'll see in the next chapter. So next chapter would be the last chapter of the Canto 1. In next week, we'll probably finish the Canto 1. So it would be a great milestone for all of us. Now together, we have completed 19 chapters of Canto 1, and then we'll see Canto 2 further. So thank you all of you for attending these sessions continuously, right? With all your help and with all your presence. No, it is motivating all of us, to hear Bhagavatam in a very systematic way. And it is very advantageous for all of us. And personally for me, because I have to prepare whole chapter for the whole week. So it gives a lot of what is a spiritual strength for me, no, to read, hear different lectures from different devotees and prepare for these sessions. So it is really purifying me at the end of the day, more than anyone else here. So thank you all of you for joining continuously now for this Srimad Bhagavatam sessions. So we next session next week we'll look into the last chapter. Now how Parikshit Maharaj, he receives the curse and how he lives his body is what we'll see in the next chapter. So Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So anybody is having any questions, we can take few questions. Nobody is having any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam. Thank you so
Hare
much
Krishna Mataji, Dhanavad
for
Pranam.
taking your time, precious time. So we nourished actually this pastime of again and again we hear and this purify ourselves. Actually, I'm explaining in Hindi to my father, and he also enjoyed full that chapter. So वेरी नाइस प्रभु जी. सो जस्ट आपने अभी शेयर किया कि हमको थोड़ा सा लव मात साधु संगा, तो आज भी हम लोग को एक बहुत अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी मिल रही है गिरधारी मंदिर में जो प्रभु है ऋषि कुमार प्रभु आ रहे हैं 8:30।
8:15 को होगी क्लास, शायद 8:30। हाँ
हाँ, तो हम जो भी है, जो भी आना चाहते हैं वो वहां पे ले सकते हैं, उनका भी साधु संग इज गुड अपॉर्चुनिटी। अभी हम लोगों ने प्रभु जी से सुनी ऑनलाइन, अब हम लोग ऑफलाइन भी सुन सकते हैं श्रीमद् भागवतम। करेक्ट प्रभु जी?
हरी बोल।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, थैंक यू सो मच।
हरे कृष्ण माता। ठीक है, तो फिर हम इधर विराम करते हैं और फिर अगले हफ्ते we'll look into 19th chapter. So thank you everyone for joining for these sessions. So we'll meet again next week. Hare Krishna.
हरे
हरे कृष्ण
Dandavat
प्रभु
pranam
जी,
to
दंडवत
everyone. Hare
प्रणाम।
Krishna.
थैंक यू।